Tape Deck Media.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, 'cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Now podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing. Welcome to an all-new episode of The Art of Bombing presents Between Bombs Callbacks. And in this episode, we are calling back episode 323 with Troy Walker. How's it going, Larry? We're back.
I'm good, buddy. Yeah, we're back. Look at us.
You're looking so good. You're so crisp right now. And I'm over here being a dark Dano.
Yeah, you look like you're giving your demands to the family right now.
Right?
Like, yeah. And I want a helicopter and a ham sandwich, and then you'll get your kid back.
Darko Danny over here.
I've got to figure out though how to raise. I'll figure it out next time. I'll raise the camera. I say next time. It'll be 2 times for now. Anyway, I got to raise this up, figure out where my camera is. I'll get it figured out. You know, new settings and stuff. But we've been all over the place, buddy. We've been going. We've been doing the thing.
We have. I know. We took another hiatus. We've been pretty sporadic with releasing episodes, but that's what happens. We've both been on the road. Or you've been on the road. I've actually been more on the seas now.
You have, yeah. The high seas.
Been doing more. Yeah, I've been on the high seas because I'm doing more cruise work, which is great. But the good news is, after the next handful of episodes, we should get back to being consistent, because I will be moved into a new place, and that'll help with everything, and we'll kind of have a better grasp on our system.
Yeah, and I'll be done with shock therapy by then, so that should work out really well.
Great. He's in shock therapy because I'm trying to get him put in his place so he'll do a better job as my producer. So we don't have to fire him.
That's right. That and so I tinkle on the carpet.
That's mainly what it is. I don't want him tinkling on the carpet.
Yeah, I get too excited.
Tired of cleaning that up in the studio. Got to have a little piddle rag and a little spray.
Yeah, and those puppy pads just don't work for me.
No. Especially when you stand on the puppy pads, you just pee from them.
Yeah,
as opposed to
I stand on and right onto the back of the chair.
Yeah, our studio. It's
our
you don't even want to know.
Well,
it is good to be back. It is good to be back. And releasing some new episodes. And we do have a lot of great episodes coming up. I do want to let everybody know, even though we haven't been releasing episodes, I've been recording with new guests. I think we already have 4 in the bank. 3 in the bank. So there's still a lot of great episodes coming up. So have no fear. We're going to be back to normal. We got some great guests. I'm excited for a lot of the shows that are coming up too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because we're getting some great comics, especially like this week's comic. Troy Walker, writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. And it was a great interview. Great show. Great interview.
I thought you were going to say it was great shit.
See, and I stopped myself also from making that joke, because it did sound like I was going to say great shit. And you know what? That's it. Just great shit, buddy. Good job.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, that's all right. It was great shit. It was a great episode. Troy was a fantastic guest, and lots to talk about with him, which was great. Kind of interesting how he came up in Denver, but like way before I moved there. But it's just interesting how somebody, you can be in the same the same area as these comics that come up, and then move before you get there, whatever.
Yeah,
it's just cool that they have that. You have that little connection, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, and it's always like gosh, I met a comic the other night, and we were going through the people of you're like, I can't believe we haven't worked together because you've worked with this guy here and you've worked with this guy and you've done this. And oh, do you know this guy? Where'd you come up? Oh, you know this guy? Oh, yeah, no, okay. And you just kind of.
Comedy is a very, surprisingly, it is a small world despite how vast the world is.
That is correct. Yeah. And we kind of just we get to know each other by knowing everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we also
Go
find
ahead.
out who we don't want to work with. Anyway,
Yeah, well, that could be a whole nother episode.
that should be.
We could just do a what do they call, a blast episode, where we're just we're just blasting people.
We'll spill
We'll
the
start a
tea.
feud. There we go. We'll start a feud. Maybe that'll help get some
Ooh.
downloads.
You know what?
Get
We
some
should
more
manufacture.
We should.
Yeah.
Manufacture a feud. Just start making fun of some of these other podcasts. I mean, do you think if I just mention the Joe Rogan Experience, that'll help our numbers? Because it'll be in the transcripts.
Ooh, maybe it may.
Guess we're gonna find out. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how many downloads this episode gets compared to previous episodes. Maybe we'll have to start just randomly throwing in some other comedy podcasts in our text.
Well, that's the thing. I used to for other podcasts be like, hey, here's who I'm willing to fight to get downloads, and I'll be honest. I'm not willing to fight Joe Rogan. I'll fight almost everybody else.
But Joe Rogan's the one I will not.
Joe
fight.
Rogan. I will not fight Joe Rogan. That guy. I've heard his kick.
I've heard his kick.
I have like that's the thing. You see it, but it's the sound.
It's when you can hear it. Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
and you're like, ooh, that's. Oh, I don't want to get kicked with. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Well, speaking of Joe, he is a comic who's been doing comedy a very long time, and if memory serves me right, he started pretty young, and I think in the Boston area. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I thought about because this came up starting if you were younger, and I wanted to start comedy when I was younger. I think I was about 22, 23 when I first kind of was like would like to do that, and at that time, it's kind of funny. So I started comedy. The short answer is I started comedy because I got divorced. The first time that I almost started doing that, I wanted to do comedy, we were separated. So I went to some shows. I started kind of, looking into whether or not I could do comedy. And then we got back together, and then I put it to the side. But I think about that sometimes. If I would have started when I was 23 versus where I am now, or when I started at 31, like that's almost 8 years. That could have been a big difference.
I have had the same thoughts. But here's the thing: what I know, I wanted to start when I was younger, but I was also trying to do theater, and I wanted to do acting, and I wanted to do all this. But I know that if I had started at the age that I've started at 20 or 18 or 9, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I know. I needed to get all of that out of my system before, I went to open mics and somebody was like, "Hey, you like drugs?" I don't know. I'll try anything once, and then be like,
I honestly, that's funny because you're right. I mean, we probably all would have gotten way more shenanigans if we start younger. I also think for me, while I'm glad, I think we all have our path, right? And I think for me, I became a better comic because I started later. I feel like because I had more life experience to grasp from. So it was easier because I feel like when you start as a young comedian, you don't have a lot of life experiences, so it takes you a while to really build a good, set that really connects with a wide variety of audiences, and you almost kind of like accelerate when you start later because you have those life experiences. So it almost feels like it evens out, like if I would have started when I was 23. Sure, I'd be way further than when I started at 31. But by the time I'm 35, both ages would have been leveled up. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yep. If I had started in my early 20s, um, I would have all those insecurities that I was fighting at that time. I wouldn't. I'd have been like, "Well, check out this dork over here," and "Oh man, check it," and try to be like, I would have been trying to be the cool guy instead of when I did start and all that. All that had I kind of figured that out, gotten past a lot of that, and just been like, "Ah, man, I'm just a dude, and here I am." And that humility comes in where then you can relate to people, where you can still be like, "Ah, check this dumb thing out over here," but ultimately I'm still the butt of the joke. And and I think when they talk about, that it takes X amount of time, it takes that time through your 20s to figure out who you are, what you are, where your voice is. And when you start a little later, you might be lucky in that you've done some therapy already, and you might
already
have
know
a decent
who you are.
idea. Yeah, or at least you know who you don't want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Well, we're going to go to a break, and then when we come back from that break, we're going to talk about getting heckled before you even start telling jokes. So we'll be right back. And that was a message from our sponsors. Please support our sponsors. We, by supporting them, you are supporting us. Of course, if you want to go ad-free, you can join the Supporters Club for, I think, $3 a month, and you'll get you get the episodes early and ad-free. And then, just always a reminder, make sure you tell a friend about the Art of Bombing. Tell everybody, when you're at an open mic, just tell your friends, tell your other open mic buddies about the Art of Bombing and how you're gaining so much knowledge, and you're probably accelerating way faster because you're getting all these cool tips from Larry and myself.
Yeah, that's right.
But
you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody. Now let's talk about getting heckled before you even start, because that's the worst, man. That is the worst. Like, you start, you're in for a wild ride. Like, when you're walking up, because there's a different kind of like excitement when you're coming to the stage from the crowd, that they give off a different energy when they're just excited to be there versus an audience that's going to be obnoxious. They'll still have high volumes of excitement, but it's a different kind of excitement, and you can always tell. Like, maybe not tell, but you can feel the difference when you're walking on stage.
Yeah.
And when you get that rowdy crowd, I guess it's more rowdy versus excited. And when you get that rowdy crowd and they're heckling before you even get out there,
yeah. When you're like, especially if there's no green room per se, and you've got to stand off to the side, and people have decided, I recognize him from the poster, I'm going to go talk to him. And they already start in before you have even touched the stage. And you're like, well, okay, but let's, cool, but I've got to, go to work in a second. You try to, it is.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Because also, and especially if you're a newer comic, it's easy to get thrown off. You're already, probably struggling to remember your set and, concentrate on that and work on your delivery and all these other things that you've already got running through your head. And then that can just totally disrail you and potentially lead to a bombing situation, which it's going to happen. We all bomb, but if you could avoid it, it's always good.
I mean, that's the idea.
As far as a way to combat it, you're not really going to be able to combat it, but when you go up to the mic, you got to address it a little bit. But I would just go up and be like, "Oh, I'm glad you could, make a joke about it," or be like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys are excited to see me," or something.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't try to go into crowd work right off the top.
No.
I would try to de-escalate it right away and then get into your material.
Yeah, try to get control of the room, because that's the thing that you got to be in charge. I was
looking for. That's the word. Yes, you need to get control of the room ASAP.
And sometimes you're not at a comedy club or someplace that likes to run business like a comedy club, and so the manager, the waitress, and the bartender are all running 18 different directions, and they don't have time to step in and go, "Frank, shut up." So that becomes On you.
And a lot of those venues like that, and not to discredit them or talk shade on them, if you will, but they want those sales. They don't want to kick the person out because they want them to keep drinking and eating and spending money. So they don't want to get in their face and potentially make them mad.
Yeah.
So they're just like, they let them get away with it.
Yeah, especially if they're a regular. Man, do they like? Oh man, I can't kick him out. He's my best customer. Okay,
if I kick him out now, he probably won't come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, then he's not your best customer.
Yeah. Yeah, your best customer is over here, who comes in all the time and is shutting the hell up. And
yeah, exactly.
But
somebody that's open to whatever you're doing.
That's the thing, though. If it starts before your foot has even touched the stage, get it in your head. You got to try to control the room. Try to stay friendly. But at some point, it just becomes all right, I got to fill my time. I've been hired to do this much time. I'm going to do that much time, whether you, me, or anyone else likes it or not. And then I will collect my check, and I will walk past you after.
Yeah, it's kind of like walking past people who hated you. That's exactly what it is.
Yes, that is. I've had to do it. I've had to do it where I'm walking out and they look at you and you're like, "Oh, thanks for coming out." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And you're like,
there's
"Oh,
no. I don't think is there a worse walk of shame than walking past a crowd that you just bombed in front of?
No,
or standing out for the recession, like trying to still be polite and thank them for coming, knowing and trying to avoid eye contact.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, thanks. I know what's the worst part is somebody's always going to come up and be like, "Hey, that's tough. It's tough stuff. Good on you for getting up. It's a hard business. Good on you for getting up there and trying. That's the worst."
Yep.
Like, come on.
Just rub it in. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Art of Bombing presents Between Bombs Callbacks. We'll be back next week with a brand new regular episode, and then the week after with another Between Bombs. In the meantime, I got a couple housekeeping things. Leave the 5-star review. Leave us a rating and review. That would be great. If you're in the Facebook group, this is the big call to action at the end of the show. If you listen to this episode and you are a part of that Facebook group, the Art of Bombing Bomb Squad, do me a favor and post something in it. Because I want to see if anybody's even really interested in being in the group. Because there hasn't been really much activity. Even when we try to, post stuff and get people involved, are we wasting our time? Do you guys want to be part of a community, or do y'all hate each other? I'm just trying to. Are you all trying to walk past each other like you hate each other?
But walk of shame with your check.
Yeah, walk of shame with your check right out of the Facebook group. But yeah, just and maybe I'll do a post and you can just comment on it if you're still interested in the group. And then if not, maybe we'll just archive it and figure something else out. You guys let us know. And yeah, that's going to do it. And for all our back issues, you can tell I read comic books.
What?
For our full back catalog, visit theartofbombingpod.com. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.